Hey everybody, this is Dr. William Clark here for Leadership Conversations. This is the show where we talk about leadership according to the world that matters to you. Excited to be with you today, and I want to talk to you briefly about adjusting the elements of your character as a leader. Now, you're evolving into your leadership role, and you are taking on new responsibilities, and that's awesome. But what you'll notice is that elements of your character needs to be adjusted to accommodate for the new experiences that you're taking on as a leader. As a result, you may notice that some people may not want to tell you the things that need to be fixed. And that can be disheartening and frustrating for a number of reasons, because you expect people to be honest with you, at least I do. And if they're not, then you're wondering why. Is it because there's something about me that limits their ability to be honest? Is it something about something that I've done that prevents them from being honest? Is it a way that I've reacted to previous feedback that has limited people's interest in being honest with me? Whatever the reason is, I hope that this particular podcast provides you with the opportunity to hear some steps on how to adjust your character so that your leadership is strengthened on this journey of becoming the very best leader you can possibly be. Now, the first thing I want to share with you is that change is normal. Okay? You should expect change to happen. And as akin to that, making adjustments along the journey should be expected and considered as normal as well. Okay? You should expect to continuously make adjustments on the journey on strengthening your own leadership. I hope that you don't think that becoming a leader, achieving the leadership title, achieving your goals as a leader means that you don't make tweaks along the journey. I hope that you don't think that you go through one large transformation in your life and that's it. That's not necessarily accurate. Even though you may take on a transformational experience, you may go through a transformational experience, you may go through a major change in your career and in your leadership, the truth is you're constantly are adjusting to make tweaks to accommodate the situation you're currently in. Okay? This allows you to maintain the flexibility you need to adjust and to improve your leadership so that you are appropriately responding to the situations that you are confronting as a leader. You shouldn't expect that what you went through 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago is good enough to strengthen your leadership or be enough to maintain the same exact level of intensity that you give to your leadership. The truth is, you need to adjust on a regular basis. Sometimes it's monthly, quarterly, annually. Sometimes it's daily, given the circumstances you're wrestling with in your organization. And I want you to know that as you make adjustments and tweaks to your leadership, those adjustments or tweaks are normal, okay? You're not abnormal for going through these adjustments, but you would be abnormal if you dismiss them or ignore them or act like you don't need to embrace them or go through them. The second thing I'll share with you in terms of adjusting your character is for you to establish pillars of feedback for ongoing growth and ongoing development. You should have people in your life that are able to speak into your life and provide you with the appropriate level of feedback so that you can become better. If everyone in your life is a yes person, is an affirmation speaking person, is a positive speaking person, and no one is able to give you feedback, no one is able to speak to the challenges you are facing in your leadership, then you really need to question the people that are around you. You need pillars. You need foundational individuals, people who are grounded, who are wise, who see you for who you are, good and the bad, who are able to speak into your life and give you the truth that you need so that you become better. If your life, if your career is devoid of that, then my friends, you are struggling. And you will continue to struggle to become a better version of yourself. Now, as these people give you feedback and as they speak into your life and as they establish themselves as persons who are invested in your growth and development, here's the third step. This is all on you. You have to listen and process. Okay? You have to listen to what people are saying to you. You have to listen to what people are speaking to you about, what they're saying, what they're observing, because their observations are essential to your development. They're not making this stuff up. If they say you always do this when this happens, then you really need to give some thought. And the next time this happens, evaluate, assess, observe for yourself if in fact you do have tendencies, if you do in fact have behavioral patterns that follow what your people are saying. But you can't really go through that process unless you have people who are established pillars in your life, who are able to speak into your life, who are able to give you feedback. Once they do that, you got to listen, you got to process. And here's another thing about that listening process part. You have to implement the change that they're suggesting. One of the fastest ways to kick people out of your life is to completely dismiss and ignore the feedback that they're giving you. People invest themselves into your life, into your career. And they do so by speaking into your life. If you dismiss, if you ignore, if you act like, if you say thank you for the feedback and really don't do any version of what they offer, or you ignore the meaty substance of what they're offering, people will see that. The pillars in your life will see that. And they will begin to slowly but surely back away from the relationship, or they'll make adjustments to the relationship where they will refrain from giving you the feedback that you have been accustomed to hearing. And the sad part is some of us won't even notice that this feedback has been dwindling. We won't even notice the changes in the relationship. We won't even notice that stuff. And when we need the feedback the most, those pillars, they may still be there in your life, but they will be sitting back and watching. Not wishing harm to you, not wishing harm to your leadership, but because they've been ignored, they're not going to overly invest their time. They're not going to volunteer information anymore. And the sad part about some of us as leaders, and we got to process this point, is we're too blind, we're too self-absorbent in our own world to even take a moment to ask people in our lives, hey, what do you think? Hey, do you see anything that I need to be looking out for? We don't even know to ask. And the pillars in our lives who would normally invest, who would normally say, hey, here's what you need to consider, Johnny. They're not going to respond and volunteer on their own, and they're not being asked any follow-up questions by you. They're not being probed by you. So you got to listen, process, implement. And then here's the fourth step. This is probably the most important step out of all this if you want to adjust elements of your character. Repeat everything I just said. Repeat all the steps. You got to expect change to be normal. You got to establish pillars of feedback, and you got to listen, process, implement, then repeat. Repeat all of those steps. If you're unable to do that, friend, if you're unable to follow those steps and then repeat, you will not see the necessary adjustments in your character. And it will show up in your leadership. It will show up in the culture of your organization. It will show up in the work that you're engaged in. And everybody will be able to see it except you. Okay? So as you emerge into your leadership, or if you're already in leadership and you need to make tweaks, please take the time to review these steps so that your character can match the level of leadership you're looking to obtain and maintain. This is Dr. William Clark for Leadership Conversations. We'll see you in the next show.